which honors transgender people who have been murdered. So you could kind of see like that person probably did pick that day to do this, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm going to remember it now.
So it looks...
No pushback from Jimmy. No, like, I disown that joke. That joke's disgusting. Like, okay, fine. It's a joke. I get it. Yeah. So many people in my replies were like, oh, it's f***ing jokes, serfs. Always freaking out about this stuff. 2 trans people were murdered. 2 trans people were killed on Trans Day of Remembrance. Do you know how horrifying that sounds? And then to think like, oh, they're going to remember it now. If you don't know Juniper, aka Transgender Marks, on Twitter, very, very funny account. And one of the first accounts, I believe, to start making the joke, let's return ISIS to Twitter. It hasn't happened, but, you know, really pushing that free speech shit. Like, we need ISIS back on the platform.
Buddy to come back.
Yeah, they're all mad about the wrong things. You know,
like if you haven't...
I totally forgot Kurt Metzger has been on the Joe Rogan podcast. It seems like there's a pattern. All you got to do is do something horrifyingly transphobic, and all of a sudden Joe Rogan's like, okay, yeah, let's get that person on. I like their ideas. That, or like you have to talk about cancel culture a lot. Like if you talk about cancel culture a lot, even as a lefty, you know, like canceling comedians kind of thing, then you also get platformed by Joe Rogan. He's like, yeah, come on. But just so we are fully aware of what levels of depravity, I got to pull that video out. I uploaded a couple days ago that basically Jimmy Dore and Kurt Metzger had maybe the most horrifying response that anyone has had to the Colorado shooting, including mocking the victims, as well as basically mocking Trans Day of Remembrance, which was really, really fucked up. And it's the kind of stuff that I would have expected to see in like some of the worst corners of the internet. Not the people who claim to be like ex-progressives. Well, I don't know what Kurt claims. Like Kurt is clearly fucking just like a hardcore, I like making rape jokes dude.
She's not even allowed to think that someone who says that they're non-binary and uses they them isn't being sincere. You're not allowed to question it.
It just doesn't happen.
So now she doesn't know what to do. So she's going to throw it to the black guy and hopefully they'll be shielded by his minority status.
I just hope he's got enough blackness to cover 3 of them.
Yes, I hope he has enough. This is ubiquitous in libraries across the country that kids go to hear drag queens
Who goes
read
to
to
libraries
them?
Is my first question.
First of all, who does go to libraries?
That's not homeless sleeping there. I haven't heard of that. Kids. Secondly, this idea.
Why do drag queens want to read to kids? I thought being a drag queen was about going out to a drag bar and having fun.
Because they think it's some kind of like.
Because drag queen is. Let me ask you this: drag queen isn't being isn't a transsexual. That's a different thing.
Transvestite. We got to get to the kids and show them drag queens are good early.
Why?
The kids that you think that you need to reach with that for some reason are not going to be at that show.
So I don't know if he's playing stupid. I don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think this whole thing is just kind of planned to join in on the right-wing griftosphere that Jimmy Dore has kind of, you know, synced himself up with, and the moral disgust and outrage at Drag Queen Story Hour, which is a long-running conservative trope.
Clean up your room.
In fact, again, vilifying LGBTQ plus people as groomers, pedophiles, you can look no further than the Nazis, okay? All this being said, though, when it comes to this, the drag queen shows you see, as someone who also loves going to drag shows, I've been to quite a few. There's amazing drag shows in Vancouver. I've seen drag shows in fucking Berlin, okay? I love drag. The ones you see when you go to nightclubs at night are not the ones that kids are going to. The ones that kids are going to are men dressed up creatively, colorfully, I'll give you, you know, something like have you ever seen a clown perform in front of children? Basically about the same level of makeup and wig that you will see from a drag queen. You never had a problem with clowns, and a drag queen, rather than frightening children forever and giving them PTSD like a clown can, reads them stories. And that's it. Not dressed provocatively, not dressed like a stripper, not dressed sexually, not dressed like burlesque, usually dressed like a princess. You know? And it's like, all right, we're going to read a story to you now. That's it. And that's the overwhelming majority. There are exceptions, because every single time there's an exception, it's like, oh, look at this. Oh my God, they're dancing with the kids. I've seen conservatives before they've really had the ones they think that like are the big ones, like the it's not going to lick itself ones. Before those ones came along, there was the outdoor one where there's like, yes, there's a drag queen and she's singing a song. And as she sings a song, she starts to do a little parade in a circle, and all these kids are laughing and dancing behind her. What about that is not unbelievably wholesome? It's just kids dancing and singing. I never knew that conservatives had such a big problem with that. It's weird to see that because they love child beauty pageants. They love making children sexualized, putting them in unbelievable amounts of makeup, and then watching them give bikini competitions to each other. That seems like fucked up and pedophilic, but hey, it's a drag queen reading books. That's the problem. Okay.
The kids that are going to be there are people that are already real cool drag queens, or they wouldn't be bringing their kids there. So I have no idea what it's.
I saw several drag shows. Those are not for children.
Yeah, no, it's.
Congratulations. Good job. And guess what? Those aren't the ones that the kids see. The kids don't see the ones that are hypersexualized with all the jokes and the routines and all that kind of stuff. That's not the ones they see. No, they see the one where they get stories read to them. Because again, adults are able to differentiate between these two scenarios. That's why they've made two very different scenarios for different people. Like, at the end of the day, a stripper is just a dancer, really, right? But by that same logic, is all dancing inappropriate for children because strippers also dance, because strippers can dance sexually? Do you not think that there are other forms of dance that are totally appropriate for a kid to watch and or a kid to try and participate in, or just jumping around and singing, that kind of stuff?
It's insane.
If that's what they're doing, but maybe they're doing...
The story
Why
thing,
do kids want to see men dressed up? I don't understand why kids would want...
Their kids?
The shooting occurred Saturday night into early Sunday morning on the start of Transgender Remembrance Day.
This is one of the worst things.
Did you know this?
No.
Which honors transgender people who have been murdered. So you could kind of see like that person probably did pick that day to do this, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm going to remember it now.
So it looks...
No pushback from Jimmy. No, like, I disown that joke. That joke's disgusting. Like, okay, fine. It's a joke. I get it. Yeah. So many people in my replies were like, oh, it's a fucking joke, serfs. Always freaking out about this stuff. 2 trans people were murdered. 2 trans people were killed on Trans Day of Remembrance. Do you know how horrifying that sounds? And then to think like, oh, they're going to remember now. Like, that is, I didn't even hear that from Crowder. I think even Crowder probably would have corrected one of his staff if they said that. And we're like, well, I mean, that's a little spicy. We're not gonna go there, but I am gonna say, like, holy shit.
That's the good thing about it. They stick dollars and you make money doing it. Whatever it takes, kids, to get $1. That's the overall thing. And then this is like a fun. It's really not like, I'm sure people doing it are maniacs, but the overall push of this stuff, like on MSNBC, that's getting you trained early about like you'll do anything for $1.
Yeah, and then he goes on this like a lot of people too were just doing the same thing, like context. There is no context in which making that joke is anything other than horrifying. That's straight up post someone being murdered, being like, that's funny, and that's really fucked up. And yeah, it's a joke, but that's the point of the joke. Also, watch the whole clip. I beg you. The majority of it is both Kurt and Jimmy just nonstop doing this like plain dumb thing where it's like, why would they want to go to drag? I don't understand it. I've been to drag shows. They're very inappropriate for children. It's because they're sick in the mind. They want to train them from an early age to start accepting money and cash for sexual favors. That's what they're doing. They're trying to sexualize those kids, and then the kids normalize the idea of if they dance a little bit, then they get money, and that's how it goes. Like, it's just 100% right-wing LGBTQ plus people are sexualizing children, and it's like that for like over 20 minutes. It's 100% what the right and the right-wing rhetoric is. It's indistinguishable. So the level of vilification coming from the Jimmy Dore show and that section of the internet is just as bad as the right to the far right, including the spin-offs. Tinkle Jackson, he's one of the people who, after the whole Tim Pool Ye thing, was being like, big L for Tim Pool. I don't like the Ye slander, big L. The Ye slander, Tim Pool did a fucking baby pushback that only at the very end, where he was like, well, I'm basically not going to 100% agree with you on the Jewish question. That's what Tim said, and that was too much. And then Ye was just like, I'm out. Yeah, that wasn't slander. He gave Ye the mic. Ye spoke for the majority of that entire segment as he wanted to start dropping fucking lines from Mein Kampf, talking about how they control all the banks and the media, all that shit. There was no like, okay, well, you probably shouldn't quote Mein Kampf when we're talking about this kind of stuff. You probably shouldn't start saying all these weird anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. No, they're not true. It's not the Jews who control every single one of these companies and banks. It's the Irish. It's always been the Irish.
Committed a crime. He should come back.
I don't think he's right about the Alex Jones thing.
Well, I think he believes that Alex Jones lied on purpose to profit.
Well, here's the weird part. Alex Jones didn't get kicked off of Twitter for saying anything about Parkland.
No,
he got kicked off for making fun of like Oliver Darcy and saying some like, he's like I forget, it's something like an animal coming out of another animal's ass, like
something along those lines. I forget what he said.
Yeah, so
but the point is that I think Elon's point was that he said that his son died, his first child, I believe it was his son, his first child died in his arms. That's what he said. And that anybody who would profit off of a child's death or
doesn't he work with the Pentagon? Oh, really? Anyone who would profit off it, like.
Meanwhile, the Taliban's on Twitter.
Yeah, like.
But the point is, like, knowing Alex, that is not what happened. Alex had a genuine
You know what's fucked up though? This group of people, the comedians, the free speech absolutist comedians, don't worry, there's tons of base comedians too, but the free speech absolutist ones who are just like, oh, we're all being canceled, even though we keep getting Netflix specials about how we're all canceled. Cancel culture is run amok. They're not recognizing that what Elon is doing here is exactly what they complained about. They had this weird fantasy cartoon SJW version of Twitter in their brains where they're like, well, it's basically just a team of SJW, pink-haired, woke mafia. They sit in the room and then they basically find every right-wing account that offends them. And then they're like, oh, well, feelings hurt. And then they delete the account. And then like, oh, well, I'm triggered. I'm a snowflake. Boom. They delete the account. That's Elon Musk. That is exactly what Elon Musk is. People make fun of him. Oh, I'm a snowflake. My feelings are hurt. But oh, people have revealed information about Tesla cars and or about Twitter's like activity. Oh, my feelings are hurt. Snowflake. Delete. Yeah. Oh, someone's impersonating me and saying comeback crimes. Well, I'm a snowflake. Feelings hurt. Boom. That you have been describing Elon Musk this entire time. It wasn't like this before. There was an entire board that was responsible for these kind of decisions. Like there still is, by the way. He hasn't gutted every single employee yet. But it wasn't just like statistics and data showed that it wasn't a liberal bias. It was actually a right-wing bias because a right-wing incendiary content would generate more interest in the AI. So the AI was favoriting it. So there wasn't like an overwhelming amount of, right-wing accounts getting banned, left-wing accounts getting not banned. What really fucked everyone up was the fact that they felt that was the case because of the trans issue. Because right-wingers were so far, and are still so far past the Overton window on this one, that they can't even do basic human decency because they're grown men babies. So when someone's like, hey, can you please refer to me by my proper pronouns? They're like, no, this is an affront to me and biological sex for some reason. So because of that, I'm going to be a dick forever. Now I'm going to be an asshole. And it's like, well, okay, your account is suspended for 5 days. You can delete that horrifying transphobic tweet you just made, Dr. Jordan Peterson. It's up to you. You can do it, or you can just walk away. Right? Whatever you want to do. And it's like, oh, I am being silenced. My God, and we'll see who cancels who. The woke mob has come for me because I had the audacity to speak the truth about someone else's medical procedures. I should be Elliot Page's doctor. Oh, I just said Elliot Page. No, mother, what have I done?
Psychotic break. He was losing his fucking mind. He was drinking heavily, and I think he really truly believed a lot of things that weren't true, because he was finding out so many things that were true. He was going crazy.
Well,
and also drinking a lot.
Oh yeah, that always helps.
He really did have like a moment where he said, "I just was losing my fucking mind." That doesn't excuse it, right? It's just the fact. That's that's what was going on.
I feel like
the guy's right about a lot of shit.
If you look at his hit rate, this is the thing that's like eerie. Is it's because people would say he's a fucking agent. I hear that all the time, and you think of the amount of things that were right, but he said them, and like the frogs are turning gay. That famous clip, right?
Yeah,
it's based on a real story about pollution. That's actually.
I can't believe in this moment, 2022, the year of Luigi, we are still pushing this Alex Jones is actually right sometimes narrative, and people are still buying it. Well, I don't agree with what he said about, Sandy Hook. That was pretty bad. And everything that kind of got revealed during the course of that trial, it was actually very, very bad. He never stopped. It really seems like he will never stop unless he's actually forced to stop, because it seems like his all-out assault on a whole bunch of fucking parents that should be grieving is pretty horrifying, to say the least, considering like it got to the point that one of them unalived themselves because of the harassment they faced. And in the face of unbelievable amounts of data, information, colleagues, people telling him to stop, fucking nothing worked. He did not care. He was willing to continue to push a false narrative up until the point where he started to face legal repercussions for what he was doing. And then that's when we started to get the new Alex Jones, the one who's like, oh, I play a character, don't you know? Oh, yes, I'm actually just more of a pill salesman. In order to sell my scary pills, I need to tell you that the world is very scary, because that way the only cure to your scariness is my scary pills. So that's why I act like everything is very, very scary. Like, oh, so scary. Look how scary everything is. It's really scary, right? The only thing that can save you is these scary pills that I have. Yes, only I sell them. It's a good thing that I sell the scary pills for how scary I tell you the world is. That's basically the entire thing. There's nothing more to him.
Affecting wildlife. It's actually an important story. So he's referring to something that's a real thing. But
Yeah, it's doing something fucked up to their hormones, and I think that it makes them intersex or something along those lines.
Yeah, it's important. But why are you saying it like that? Because then it makes it easy to dismiss. So
because he's funny.
Yeah,
that's the thing about Alex. Is like half of what he does is like the
Yeah, he's hilarious. I especially like when he says that there is a disproportionate amount of black people that are, disproportionate amount of white people that are getting killed by black people at a ratio of 10-1, which is not true at all, but it's like a Stormfront statistic that I'm assuming that I like when he talks about Christian nationalism and how the whole country should be a country that is Christian nationalist. Oh, I also find it really funny when Alex Jones talks about how gay people eat poo and have AIDS because they're so degenerate. Oh, also really funny when Alex Jones talks about how trans people are inhuman. Yeah, that's hilarious, Joe. All of it. It's hard to choose between which part of Alex Jones is just endlessly memeable, and which part is like, well, these are the horrifying words of a white supremacist, but I don't think of you as a white supremacist because you're a cartoon character, because you did the gay frogs, and the memes and the song and the Let's Go track, all that shit. Yeah, I guess Alex Jones just is funny. He's definitely not a white supremacist.
Payment value.
Right.
But then it's all interwoven in with real shit. Like he'll say shit, and you're like, "What? What are you talking about? They got to stop giving the polio vaccine
also,
to kids in Africa
Lands,
because
don't forget about the demons. True. $27. Everyone go check out twitch.tv/$27 and also check out twitch.tv.
No reasonable person should take me seriously should not be an acceptable defense, and both Jones and Carlson have actually successfully used it in court.
Which is fucked. By the way, Saki Tsunuki, thank you so much for the 2 gifted subs. But no reasonable person should take me seriously should not be an acceptable defense. Yeah. Like that's wild. In the court case of Alex Jones, hearing Alex Jones's own staff and fucking people that he was deciding to throw under the bus at any given time, having to give sworn testimonies where it's like, so you willingly platformed a person who you knew to be giving falsifiable information. This was a conspiracy theorist, and many would describe as a quack, but you knew what they were saying wasn't true, and still you broadcast them. It's like, well, we, I guess, relied on our audience to be able to decide whether or not that's true or not. And it's like, wait, that's not how that works. The audience is not the barometer of truth for you. You don't get to be like the propagandist dick pill sellers and then be like, well, we rely upon the intelligence and 9,000 IQ of our audience to figure it out as we go on. That's it. Thank God for them. Thank God for them being able to pick and choose which of our stories are just outright lies and fabricated. It's the majority. If I'm being just truthful, it's the majority. There's very, very little facts in this show. If you want to learn more, listen to Knowledge Fights, the podcast. Knowledge Fights will show and break up almost every single Alex Jones episode, like almost every single one, and break down how much of it is lies. It's the overwhelming majority. It's like just part after part after part after part. And it's like, oh, yeah, and Alex is saying this, but in fact, that's not true. It turns out that this is actually not a real thing that ever happened. It turns out back in, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, wow, yeah, of course. Yeah, naturally. Like, it's a whole thing.
From actual polio.
Yeah,
and
right.
you hear that and you go, what? That's not true. That can't be true. All these people are free.
Is he presenting himself as someone who shouldn't take seriously? No. Not on his show. If you go to ben.video at any given time, you'll see a lot of segments that he absolutely wants to fucking chew on it. It was on Good Morning America. You know, the whole internet is... Have you seen the threads? Have you gone through them? And again, I have to put a disclaimer here. I'm never here to defend Balenciaga. Fuck that company. The fact that it's now being hounded by this QAnon crowd... I think that's kind of funny, actually. It sucks that it's actually running cover for real pedophiles because they're all hunting for the clues. Each one of them is like, this person was a photographer for Balenciaga for a couple of years. Look at their Instagram posts. This one has like a child being tortured. Wait, they deleted the Instagram post because there was thousands and thousands of comments. Whoa, look, there's tape in this picture. This tape has ABBA. That stands for all boys are available. That means that they were secretly coding about pedophiles. Like, they are just going on. Like, the rabbit hole on Reddit, on 4chan, on everything, it is so deep. Shoe on Head subreddit got roasted. It's gone. I guess Reddit was like, oh, we got the next QAnon. Good. This next QAnon, the next phase, by the way, the Balenciaga Anon, it's mixing both the hunt for pedophiles, incredibly important hunt for pedophiles, with this entire conspiracy theory that this corporation company has really been trying to, unlock pedophilia in people or to activate it more so. It's like, yes, if we put the secret coded pedo messages inside of our ads, there will be people who are suddenly activated into pedophilia. They're like, oh God, whoa, yeah, the secret combination has been met. But yeah, he expects you to take him seriously. Who are you really? Elon Musk? AJ goes nuclear? Elon Musk? What's going on here? Reality rounds? What? Video proof. Canadian dictator Justin Trudeau backs COVID enforcement. Canadian dictator turned into the world's most censored broadcast into the world. I mean, I'm on the website. Your service providers have no problem providing service for you. Your DDoS protection is sound. You are protected in America, my friend. Alex Jones,
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, God. Do you have dick pills? How many dick pills do we have here?
Free shipping is back at InfoWarsStore.com. All orders of $50 or more get
I'm not
free
skipping
shipping.
the ad.
And our regular shipping,
I want to support it like a real patriot.
Cut up to 50%.
I support it.
Free shipping right now at InfoWarsStore.com.
Obviously, everyone in China should be allowed to express themselves, should be allowed to share.
That clip of Justin Trudeau that you're using for this is like fucking really old. Anyways, there he is. Yeah, he wants you to take him seriously. I want you to take me seriously.
Same globalist, criminal, mafia, bullies, and intimidators use the exact same tactics. So Trudeau says he wants to be a dictator like Xi Jinping. I can play the clip. I know if you're a new listener, that sounds like a lie. He actually said, I admire the dictatorship of Xi Jinping. That's what I think's best. In 2 different interviews, he now comes out and says, oh, what's happening in China is wrong. Just gaslighting you. Well, of course it's wrong.
Wait, shouldn't you be on board with that? Aren't you like, oh, okay, I agree, it is wrong. Oh, but because he wants to be a dictator, he's playing the 4D chess here. Yeah, he's going to tell you he disagrees with these brutal crackdowns in China, but at the same time, he secretly wants to become Xi Jinping of Canada. So, by saying one thing and distracting you, all of us will ignore the fact that he is actually on his way to becoming a tyrant, a dictator, more powerful than anything before. Behold, here is your new Hitler.
Comment ça fonctionne? Normalement, je te mettrais genre ici, là, puis je passerais, puis je dis, hey, comment ça va? Toi, oui, c'est vraiment le fun, là, puis là, tu...
Just gotta get it. Good angle, gotta feel it. Remix! Pew, 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 pew. So yeah, I don't think that person is going to become dictator for life anytime soon. We'll see. I mean, you never know what'll happen. People, stranger things have happened from time to time. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earthhuman, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.